Vanakkam, myself Prakash RS. I am from Department of Automobile Engineering, Hindustan College of Engineering and Technology, Coimbatore. Today, my topic is Automotive Clutch. Clutch system. A clutch engages and disengages the transmission system from the engine when a vehicle is being driven away from the standstill, or when a gear change is required. It lies between the engine and transmission. In automobile, the clutch is used to engage or disengage the engine with the transmission system. It enables the rotary motion of the one shaft to be transmitted to the second shaft as when we required. The clutch should be able to transmit the maximum torque. It should take drive gradually. During clutch application, the heat generated by the friction of clutch surface should be dissipated. During high speeds, clutch should be balanced. Next, a need of clutch. The gradual increase in the transfer of engine torque to the transmission must be smooth. That's why you need a clutch. Once the vehicle is in motion, separation and take up the drive for a gear selection must be carried out rapidly without any without shock. The clutch cuts off power from the engine when changing gears. When the gear has been selected, the clutch smoothly connects the engine back to the rest of transmission to the drive wheels. Requirements of a good clutch. Torque transmission. The clutch should be able to transmit a maximum torque of the engine under all conditions. It is usually designed to transmit 125% to 150% maximum engine torque. The gradual engagement. Next point, the gradual engagement. The clutch should positively take the drive gradually without the occurrence of sudden jerks. Third point, the heat dissipation. During clutch application, large amount of heats are generated. Rubbing the surface should have sufficient area and mass to absorb the heat generated. The proper design of clutch should ensure proper ventilation or cooling for adequate dissipation of heat. Fourth one, dynamic balancing. This is necessary particularly in the high speed clutches not to be tiresome to drive. Next point, vibration damping. Suitable mechanism should be incorporated within the clutch to eliminate noise production and transmission. Size. The size of the clutch must be smallest possible so that it should be occupy a minimum amount of space in the vehicle. Clutch free pedal play. To reduce effective damping load on the carbon thrust bearing and where there are sufficient clutch free pedal play must be provided in the clutch for easy driver handling. Easy of operation. For higher torque transmission, the operation of disengaging the clutch must be easier the operation. Function of clutch. It can be disengaged, which allows the engine cranking. It permits the engine to run freely without delivering a power transmission. While disengaged, it permits the driver to shift the transmission into various gears for operating condition. While engaging, the clutch slips momentarily. This provides a smooth engagement and lessens the shock and gear shaft other train components. As the engine develops enough torque to overcome the inertia of vehicle, the drive wheel turns and the wheel begins to move. When engaged, the clutch transmits the power engine to the transmission. All slipping has now stopped. The frictional clutch enables the driven member to be disengaged and engaged gradually. With the driving member, action depends on the friction force between the member. At start, a low frictional force and increase within the pre-forces, pressure exerted by the means of coil springs. Next, single plate clutch. So this is a simple sketch for a single plate clutch. It is the most common type of clutch used in the motor vehicle. A single disc or plate clutch consists of a clutch plates whose both sides are faced with the frictional material. It is mounted on the hub, which is free to move axially along the splines to the driven shaft. The pressure plate is mounted inside the clutch body, which is bolted to the flywheel. Both the pressure plate and flywheel rotate with the engine crankshaft. The pressure plate pushes the clutch plate towards the flywheel by a set of strong springs which are arranged inside the body. When the clutch is engaged due to the friction between the flywheel, clutch plate and pressure plate revolves the clutch shaft, which is connected to the transmission system and revolves. When the clutch pedal is pressed, the pressure plate is moved back against the force of the spring and the clutch plate becomes free between the flywheel and pressure plate. These are the some of advantages and disadvantages listed over here. Advantages: it has only one plate, so it operates easily and quickly. This mechanism has very little power loss. It has a large surface area. It will dissipate heat quickly. It provides a very smooth operation during disengagement and engagement. The last point: cheap and easy to manufacture. That is disadvantages. Torque transmission capacity is not enough good. Wearing and tearing properties are not really good. Higher maintenance is required. It is a very important point. Higher maintenance is required. It requires a large space for assembling. So these are the simple advantages and disadvantages listed over here. Next, multi-plate clutch. So this is a simple sketch for multi-plate clutch. Multi-plate clutch consists of a number of clutch plates. As the number of clutch plates increased, the friction surface also increased. The increased number of friction surfaces obviously increase the capacity of clutch transmit torque. Torque transmission capacity also increased. One set of plates slides in grooves on the flywheel, and other set of slides on spins on the pressure plate hub. They are firmly pressed by the strong coil spring and assembled in a drum. Each of the alternate plates slides in the grooves on the flywheel and other slides and splines on the pressure plate. These clutches are used in heavy commercial vehicles like racing cars and motorcycles for transmitting higher torque. Besides, these clutches are used in scooters and motorcycles where space available is limited. Overall diameter is reduced for the same torque transmission as single plate clutch. Some of advantages listed over here for the multi-plate clutch. Multi-plate clutch transmits high torque because of the number of friction surface. The overall diameter of the multi-plate clutch is reduced compared to the single plate clutch and transmit the same torque. It is used in heavy vehicle and racing cars to transmit high torque. It is used in two-wheeler where there is a limitation of space. Disadvantage: multi-plate clutch are too expensive. Multi-plate clutch are heavy. Cone clutch. So this is a simple sketch shown you for the cone clutch. In this type of contact surface or in the form of cones shown in the figure, in this engaged position, the male cone is fully inside the female cone so that the friction surface are complete contact. This is done by means of spring which keep the male cone pressed all time when the clutch is engaged. The torque is transmitted from the engine via the flywheel and the male cone is splined the gearbox shaft. For disengaging the male cone is pulled out by means of the lever system operated to clutch pedal, thereby separating the contact surfaces. Some of advantages listed here. Advantages of cone clutch: a minimal axial force is necessary to maintain clutch engagement. The design is straightforward and uncomplicated. Compared to a single plate clutch of similar dimensions, the cone clutch can transmit a higher torque. Disadvantages: the cone clutch consists of a single pair of friction surface. There is a tendency for clutch to grab during operation. Due to a small cone angle, disengagement can be somewhat challenging. When the cone angle is smaller than 20 degree, the male cone has tendency to bind or become stuck in the female cone, requiring significant force to disengage the clutch. Even a slight amount of wear on the cone surface can lead to significant axial movement of the male cone, making it is difficult to maintain a proper engagement. These are the simple disadvantages listed over here. Important tips for control the clutch. Find a quiet and flat practice area. Release handbrake when you are start riding. Depress the clutch all the way down and put the car into first gear. Give the accelerator a gentle manner. Slowly raise the clutch until the car starts to move forward. Handling of clutch is a skill of driver. It leads to improve your vehicle performance, it improving your vehicle mileage and life of the clutch frictional materials. Thank you.